Hey there, I hope all is well. Welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. I am Erin F. Darton and I am an emotional intelligence coach. I am all about healthy relationships, whether it is a platonic relationship, a romantic relationship, or the relationship with yourself. It has to be healthy, and emotional intelligence is the secret to cultivating healthy relationships. So that's what I do. I help women become more self-aware so that they can cultivate healthy relationships, make themselves a priority, and get what they want out of life. Before I tell you the one thing that you have to do to cultivate healthy relationships, hit the subscribe button and make sure you share this with somebody. The one thing that you have to do if you want a healthy relationship. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should be doing, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably heard me say it, but I don't know that I've ever really explained it. So, the one thing that you need to do in order to cultivate healthy relationships is to thrive in your singleness. I know it sounds crazy. Let me explain before you tune me out. I know you want to build a healthy relationship with somebody else, and here I am telling you to focus on yourself. That is because you cannot build a relationship, a healthy relationship with somebody else if your relationship with yourself is not first healthy. How did I come up with this? I'll give you a bit of my backstory. I started my coaching business after finding myself having to rebuild every area of my life. At that time, I had just moved to DC, so I was alone in a new city. I was starting to realize that practicing law, well, at least not in that job, it wasn't as satisfying as I thought it would be. So I was unfulfilled by work. I was not making enough money to pay my bills. And on top of all of that, the guy that I thought was the one decided that this is not what he wanted. The culmination of all of these things made me depressed. I expected my life to look a certain way as I approached 30, but my expectations was not my reality. I thought that I would be a happy, high-paid attorney, but I was unfulfilled by work and struggling to pay my bills. I thought that I would be married, at least engaged, because, look, I had given God an extra 5 years. I moved my deadline back from 25 to 30 to be married. So I thought I would at least be engaged by 30. But 7 months before my 30th birthday, I found myself newly single. As overall, I thought I would just be happy. But instead, I was alone in a new city and brokenhearted. That breakup completely ruined my timeline. That was my last reasonable opportunity to be at least engaged by 30. And of course, after the breakup, I wondered, will I ever get married and reach financial freedom with my husband like I desired? I wondered if I would just ever truly be happy. Every area of my life seemed like it was in shambles, but I was determined to rebuild each area to my liking. I was determined to create this life that I love. So I asked myself, what would each area of my life have to look like for me to be happy? And then how do I create that happiness? These questions challenged a lot of my preconceived notions. Somewhere along the line, I thought that you had to wait until you were married to buy your first house. Then you would be a power couple and make a lot of money, be financially stable, be financially free. And I thought that I was only one half of that plan and my husband was the other half. And we couldn't do it, or I couldn't do it without him, and vice versa. So that meant that that breakup meant that not only was I not going to be married or at least engaged by 30, it also meant that now my financial goals were also on hold. So I thought. I learned being single doesn't mean that I'm incomplete. I learned that even though I'm single, I am complete, and that I don't need my husband to reach my financial goals. Now, does that mean that I never want a man, I'm Miss Independent, and I will never need a man? Absolutely not. I'm patiently waiting for my husband. But what it means is that I am no longer going to delay achieving certain goals until the occurrence of something that I have no control over. I have no idea when God is going to send my husband. And I just did not want to delay my financial goals for that. At that moment, I redefined or I reframed my thinking about what it meant to be single. Yes, single indicates your relationship status, but single, defined as a noun, is a separate individual, or it means whole. So that means that I learned that I was whole by myself and that I did not need to wait for my husband to reach certain goals. I decided to rebuild every area of my life the way that I wanted it. I decided to make those investments. I decided to purchase the house. I decided to create the life that I know that I deserve. This is when I decided to thrive in my singleness. What does it mean to thrive in your singleness? Well, thriving is going to look different for everybody, but you are thriving when you are living your life according to your core values. When you are content with every area of your life and you are consistently working to improve yourself, you are thriving, or when you're thriving, your self-confidence, your self-love, all of that is at an all-time high. You are focused on your goals and you are not easily distracted. This is why I say, regardless of your relationship status, you are single. Ladies, if you are married, you are more than a wife. You are more than a mom. You are still a separate individual. You are you. That means that you should continue to do those things for yourself. You should continue to have your hobbies. You should continue to work on your goals. You should continue to make yourself a priority. And you should continue to thrive in your singleness so that you can maintain that healthy relationship that you have. When you are thriving in your singleness, that means you are the best version of yourself. And you are not going to allow somebody to come and disturb your peace. This means that you are going to be selective about who you spend your time with. You are flourishing, so you are only going to allow those people in your life that are conducive to supporting you and your growth. You're not going to allow a toxic or unhealthy situations that's going to stunt your growth. And what happens when you are not thriving in your singleness? When you're not thriving, that's when you run the risk of being in a unhealthy relationship and settling. Let's use finances for an example. If you are not financially stable before you are married and you are relying on your partner to provide for you financially, it may be the situation that because they are providing for you financially, now you have to, or you are more inclined to endure experiences or different situations or different problems that you would not have been willing to accept had you not been dependent on them financially. So when you are not thriving, when you are not the best version of yourself, that is when you run the risk of ending up in an unhealthy relationship. Ideally, both of you will be thriving before you guys come together. Imagine how much stronger your relationship and how much healthier your relationship would be. I like to think of relationships as a table. Each person is a leg of the table, and when you come together, you build from the table up. Now, what happens if one of those legs is weaker than the other? The table is going to wobble, and eventually it may fall. Everything that you have built together may fall. So that's why it is very important that you guys are consistently, individually, and together striving to be the best version of yourself. Single does not only indicate your relationship status. Single means a separate individual. It means you are unique. That means everything you have is everything that you need to be the best version of yourself, which will help you cultivate healthy relationships. So, thrive in your singleness.